The oldest dream of humanity, to fly like a bird, is also Felix Baumgartner's great dream. For 3 years, Felix Baumgartner has pursued this dream. As a pioneer of flight, he wants to cross the English Channel with a wing on his back. Pioneering efforts have always moved humanity to new places. People admire this, and I believe it makes someone very proud to do something that no one has ever done before. The English Channel between Dover and Calais, 35 kilometers that Felix must overcome. He will make his leap from Dover at 9,800 meters and race toward the Earth in free fall at up to 360 kilometers an hour. If the wings can carry him 450 meters forward per 100 meters of free fall, he can make it. Once again, a historic day in aviation starts here. In 1909, the aviation pioneer Louis Blériot from Calais started the first powered flight over the Channel here. For 3 years, Felix has worked with a team of aerodynamicists, technicians, doctors, meteorologists, and other specialists to make this day a reality.
Project
Channelcrossing is definitely the largest project that I have undertaken to date. This can be seen in the fact that almost 35 people have been working on it for over 3 years. The greatest problem is that we are treading on completely new ground. I have a very good feeling for people. I'm always careful to get the right people to support me because I can no longer do it all myself. I have a very good team that supports me, that knows exactly what I want, and I know for certain that I can trust them. And I believe that self-discipline and the right people on board form the foundation for success. His 2 closest aides have accompanied him from the very beginning. What I really like about Felix is that he is one of the few people who is living out his dreams. I know many people have dreams. I think everyone does. But he is someone who makes them real and experiences them. I would consider myself Felix's right-hand man, an assistant who often only has to watch, then jumps in somewhere and goes to work.
Das ist das, was der Felix, glaube ich, an mir schätzt.
He was my base student, and we developed a friendship and did a lot of stuff together. And it's something comes when you're going out and doing risky stuff and you're doing it with a friend, you become like brothers.
With Project Channelcrossing, Felix Baumgartner is overcoming multiple natural limits. Jumping from 9,800 meters altitude at minus 50 degrees, he would only survive for a few minutes without special gear and oxygen. But even with all the high-tech material, it is mental strength that is decisive for success. I'm in a very good mood. I slept well. The weather forecast is very good. I'm very pleased with the entire setup. There are many people here. A few very good friends of mine came. That makes me feel safe. I feel good when there are familiar faces around. We are now making the final preparations for the jump. Right now, I'm not experiencing much nervousness, but that will definitely increase as soon as we lift off and have reached our jump height. Then I'll definitely be tense. For 3 days, the crew has been waiting for ideal wind and weather conditions. Now, the decision to start has been made.
Calais Tower, good morning. The information is ready for takeoff.
Taxi to runway 25, wind 230 degrees, 4 knots, clear for takeoff.
Roger, check. Runway 25 news. This cargo when ready for takeoff.
Felix leaves the Earth behind, lifts off to his greatest challenge yet. Still 40 minutes to the launching point. But who is Felix Baumgartner? What drives someone to take such risks? When Felix flies, he escapes all earthly forces. He does not need the air only for breathing as others do. It is his absolute element. Danger and forbidden achievements spur him on. A freefall fanatic. For me, base jumping is still the main discipline, simply because it makes you one with nature. You don't need a pilot, you don't need an airplane. You just go up the mountain, sit there and relax for a while in the evening sun, and then jump off the rock wall. These are the jumps during which I get this powerful energy that I constantly consume to do all these things. This is where I replenish that energy. My most beautiful jump, my most powerful experience was definitely my first base jump. This feeling that you get when skydiving and you jump out of the airplane that is flying at 1,000 meters or even higher is also a very wonderful feeling. But when you stand on a bridge for the first time and the drop is 270 meters and you only have a single parachute on your back, in other words, there is no double floor, no backup, and then you jump off and hear the unique sound of the air. Open the chute and land below. Look back up at the bridge and know that you jumped off it without needing a pilot or an airplane. That means you had no additional expense. But Baumgartner is not just an adrenaline junkie. The 1997 world champion in base jumping holds the 2 most exciting world records in this discipline. He won the first in 1999 in Malaysia, The Petronas Twin Towers are the tallest buildings in the world at 451 meters, a true trophy for any base jumper, but seemingly impossible to conquer because the buildings are guarded like a fortress. Dressed as a businessman and with false identification, he fooled the security. He hid the parachute in a suitcase. If Felix had been caught during his attempt, he could have faced severe punishment in a Malaysian prison. But he only had one thought. Greetings from the highest building in the world. At the moment, things really look like crap, but I hope that we will somehow still get to the top. A noise startles Felix, but it is only the motor of an elevator.
Okay, guys, here we go. This is the highest building in the world. It was a long, long way right up here, but now I'm ready to go. Bye-bye.
The second world record jump from the Christ statue in Rio has become one of the highlights of his career.
Okay, you got it?
This Jesus jump, there was already a lot of media talk about me beforehand, but this jump from the Jesus statue really made a big change. An exceptional undertaking, but also one of the most dangerous of Felix Baumgartner's stunts. The security personnel below are making trouble, but I'm going to jump anyway, because it's too much work to climb down. After all, that's why I'm here. In case anything goes wrong, this is my last call. Only 29 meters and 2.5 seconds separated him from the ground this time. The parachute takes 1 second to open. With this record jump from a minimal height, Felix burns himself into the world's memory. Felix, the Icarus of the modern world. He always wants to fly higher, and his technical feathers are becoming even more refined. After a few attempts with his wingsuit, he feels that it still holds more potential.
Information, we are now 6 miles north of Calais.
At an altitude of 6,000 meters, time for Felix and the crew to make the final preparations.
Tracy, can you hear me? Okay, Tracy, we need a ground wind check.
And Tracy, at the landing site, is also ready.
Okay, you can land right by the orange smoke and the green.
I now have approximately 10 minutes to fly across the English Channel for the entire project, and it will be very close. It is really an adventure, and only the jump itself will show whether it really works.
Felix, eine Minute zum zur Shoreline. Check nochmal alles.
Cameraman David has difficulties with his camera due to the low temperatures and briefly removes his oxygen supply to change the camera. Felix and Helmut Tuchek are concentrating on the jump and don't notice David's problem at first. Then, cameraman David falls to the floor, unconscious. Helmut Tuchek acts quickly to give first aid. The crew is under enormous pressure. The jump is delayed.
London control, the information, unable to reach 310.
On the ground, Tracy is worried when he hears about the delay over radio. Will the mission have to be cancelled just before reaching its goal? The life of the cameraman and Felix's dream hang from a thread. The idea for the English Channel crossing came up after a few jumps with the first wing prototypes. At the beginning of 2003, Felix met with the man who could make his dream of the Channel crossing a reality. Rüdiger Kunz, the Austrian, born in 1927, has participated in many milestones of aircraft engineering in the last 50 years, including the design of the Eurofighter. I was excited by the fact that two men, who I liked straight away, came to me and explained what they needed. That they had a simple flying device with very good performance for this simple device, roughly a glide angle of 3, but that this did not suffice for what they had in mind. And after they explained to me what they had in mind, I said they needed a glide angle of 6. The Carbotech company in Salzburg, Austria, one of the world's leading manufacturers of carbon fiber components. Famous Formula One teams, as well as renowned aircraft manufacturers, are found on the customer list. In spring of 2003, the company begins construction of the wing based on the plans by Kunz. Together with the aerodynamicists, the optimal wing profile is developed. Many details, such as openings for the parachute and space for the harness, must also be built in.
Der ist größer, also wird nie überbringen. Den Freitag nicht fliegen, der Wochenende tut sich wieder nicht viel. Wird zwei Chancen da. Ja, die Luft auf alle Fälle weg. Und du kannst das, wir haben jetzt auch keine Feder drin. Das heißt, du ziehst jetzt da die Splinte raus. Das ist ein Kabel, das schaut auch so aus. Da ist dieser Quetschmuffen oben, ja, und da hängen wir dann unseren Karabiner an.
A fitting with the tailor in the workshop of the Flying Bulls in Salzburg. Thermosuit, harness, and even the protective shell for the expensive high-tech wing are sewn by the tailor by hand.
Jetzt fällt da her. Aha. Das ist drauf. Ich muss runter um ein Loch, dann habe ich da die nächsten. Und nur mit einem Loch habe ich da wieder die nächsten. Dann habe ich 3 Mal verstellen.
12-1. You're right this time.
Okay, das sagen.
June 2003. The wind tunnel at Audi in Ingolstadt, Germany, last station before the test flight. Here, measurements are taken to determine whether the wing generates enough lift for the planned flight and whether the calculated glide angle is actually achieved. The test results will show whether the talent and experience of Rüdiger Kunz live up to the aerodynamic reality. It's one part experience and one part luck. In the initial measurements we made yesterday, both were clearly sufficient. Enough experience and some luck. We examined the values in the Audi wind tunnel. The glide value is 1.4 to 5. According to our calculations, it should suffice with a jump height of approximately 9,000 meters. The English Channel is 35 kilometers across, so theoretically it should work. July 14th, 2003, Balaton Airport in Hungary. Starting signal for the first test flights. On a decommissioned military airfield on Lake Balaton, Felix has a hard test week ahead of him. The first jumps are a success. A computer program saves the flight data. This allows the team to analyze the performance of the wing and to improve it with each additional flight. But then, a dramatic incident occurs during one of the later test flights. The wing prevents the opening of the parachute. To save himself, Felix has to throw off the wing. Flying with a wing is something special. It is very dangerous. We have to work through each step individually. This involves many setbacks. You are always standing with one foot in the grave. I am constantly challenged. There is never any relaxing. Every jump has to be perfectly prepared. Every jump is something unique, and you never know what will happen. At the moment, I am really at the limit. The wing breaks up upon impact. Repairs in Salzburg are required. The test flights must be postponed. 2 weeks before the planned date, the Channelcrossing is in serious danger.
It's not a sure thing. It's not in the bag yet, so we don't know. It all depends on how he flies, his concentration level, if he can hold the heading all the way over. So that's going to be the major things.
An appointment at the Pilots Medical Institute of the German Air Force in Königsberg, Germany. Felix is to be thoroughly examined. The pressure chamber simulates an altitude of approximately 11,000 meters. The human body is not designed for such extreme pressure differences. Problems, especially with the oxygen in the blood, are practically built in. Even the smallest air bubble in the blood can lead to edemas in the lungs, with fatal consequences.
So, wir erreichen die 35.000 Fuß. Ganz kurze Verweildauer in dieser Höhe und wir werden dann gleich mit 10.000 Fuß in der Minute das Senken durchführen.
In the so-called disorientation test for jet pilots made by the company AMST, the blood flow in Felix's head is measured. The rotation puts Baumgartner's ability to orient himself under extreme pressure. July 24th, 2003, Leer, Germany. Under extreme pressure, it was possible to repair the wing for an additional week of training. Now, Felix only has 10 more days to risk the flight over the channel. Then, the approval of the aviation authorities for the exceptional flight expires. Stress on board the airplane. Cameraman David is still unconscious on the floor. The team does everything they can to help him. After a sufficient supply of oxygen, he comes to and is ready to continue filming. I don't have any fear. It's tension that is important. Fear is bad because it blocks you and slows your reaction speed, and that would be absolutely fatal in this sport. The airplane is precisely over Dover. The pilot is ready. Now, there is no turning back.
London, we are on jump run. We have 4 miles to go, ready for drop in 1 minute. Play, 2, and go. Jumper is out, we are leaving 305, descending.
Felix, Porter, you copy?
3-6, don't expect the version line.
Okay. Porter has Felix. She's 4,000 feet directly over landing zone.
After 6.5 minutes, Felix breaks through the clouds. Below him is only water. Clearly visible on the horizon is the coast of Calais.
Gratulation, Felix. Super.
Okay, Felix, you have a low wind here, and it's coming from 11 o'clock.
In the beginning, it didn't look so good from my perspective. It's difficult to estimate. You don't have any point of reference. You're flying over the clouds and nothing is getting nearer. The clouds aren't coming up any faster. It felt as if I were standing still in the air, but that wasn't the case. As I passed over the clouds and saw the landing site below, there was the fire sign. Then my altitude alarm went off at 1,500 meters. As I saw the coast below in front of me, I knew it had worked. I had done it. 3 years of preparation had paid off. That was a total relief. As with every athlete, one realizes the achievement only later. Right now, there's too much hubbub with all the interviews and photos. You don't have time to enjoy the moment. But I think that when I fly home sometime in the next few days, this feeling of joy will really set in. And you know that you spent a lot of time and energy during the last 3 years, but that it really paid off. I have to build my wing. I have to have my parachute sewn. I have to do so much work just to see the world from above. I can imagine that birds know exactly what they're doing, that they have a lot of fun. You can see that when they fly together. And I think I would really like to be a bird in my next life.
Würde ich gern sein im nächsten Leben.